It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Shane Richardson, who is the UNC Pembroke's head football coach. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Brandon. Thanks.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get involved in college coaching?
Well, I think it started, when I kind of developed a passion for football, probably in my high school years, and going into college, you want to play college football. You're going through obviously the college experience, and then you get to this point where you're not quite sure what you really want to do after college, and had the privilege of being asked to stay on at Northern Michigan there and help coach there. And I think it was really just getting my feet wet there as a graduate assistant after having finished my playing career there, that I really understood that it could be the next greatest thing to playing in terms of coaching the game and staying involved with it. So I think it just kind of evolved from high school then into college. And then once I had that first experience of it, I really loved it.
What was it like, obviously, getting to play for North Michigan and then obviously being a part of the coaching staff after playing?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I think just to go through a college student athlete experience is one that's very unique and something that not a lot of people get to do. And I was able to do that for 5 years, went up there and was redshirted. And then it was really an exciting time of life where you get to venture off after high school, blaze your own trail a little bit. I was 7 hours away from home, and just kind of learned a lot about yourself. And it was a great experience. Fantastic. Marquette, Michigan is a fantastic place. And it was a great college town. And we had great facilities up there, and it was a fun program to be a part of. And so then being able to stay there and coach the year after finishing playing was obviously just kind of a bonus to that experience.
What was it like getting to be the linebacker coach for your alma mater?
Well, of course, you're young and you kind of come out very green because you've played the game, you haven't coached it yet. And so to go right into coaching linebackers was probably an eye-opening experience at the time, and probably didn't really realize what I didn't know. But it was fun to be able to work with my teammates. That's always a difficult transition because you go from playing with them and kind of being on the field with them and going through the workouts and everything that you do with your teammates. And now all of a sudden you've got to instruct, you've got to teach, you've got to correct, you've got to coach the guys that you just finished playing with. And so difficult transition, but I would have been too naive at the time to really even realize it.
What was it like going to North Dakota State to become the defensive back coach?
Well, I think going to North Dakota State was a great experience because of the great tradition that they've had. And of course, recently, I think, if you know anything about college football, they have had just a tremendous run here lately at the FCS level. But going there, I really think that was kind of my first experience to understand the standard of excellence that it takes to be able to be a part of a winning tradition, a tradition that focuses on a lot of team first mentality. And there were great coaches there that I was able to, get acquainted with, and just being able to be a part of that program really kind of set the standard and the bar of excellence in my own coaching repertoire. And it just gave me something to kind of shoot for in terms of how I coach the players that I work with wherever I was at.
What was it like whenever you joined the UNC Pembroke coaching staff in 2006 as the linebacker coach?
Well, the unique thing about joining the staff in '06 was that we were starting the program from scratch. And that was just a very unique challenge in and of itself. So to be a part of that from the ground up and to see the growth and to see the hard work that had to go into that, that was a really neat and unique experience in and of itself. And so to say that I coached linebackers, I think we were just trying to recruit players and trying to just get everything started. And so it was kind of a difficult and yet a very challenging and eye-opening experience because you kind of just didn't really know, like really, you always join typically a program that's already going, but in this case, we had to figure out how to do it from scratch. And so to be a part of that was a great honor and a privilege to learn how that looked. So it's been neat to be a part of that kind of every waking moment since then too.
What was it like, obviously, becoming the defensive coordinator in 2006 to 14?
Well, you're never really ready to step into those big roles. It's hard to prepare for those promotions and advancements in your career. And so you just kind of get thrown into it. You learn on the fly, and hopefully the experience up to that point and all the skills that you've acquired and the things that you can add to it can help to continue to mold you into those roles and titles. But, we had some great defenses here and great players and some great assistant coaches. And it was really fun to be a part of leading that defense and being able to coordinate, what we did for those years. And so, those were really fond memories from kind of the first half of my tenure here at UNCP. And so I really, really enjoyed coaching the defenses then.
What was it like in 2014 when you got promoted as the head coach to only become the second head coach in program history?
Well, a little bit of the same. And in that, you didn't really know what you didn't know. And until you sit in the chair of being a head coach, you don't realize what it takes and what you go through and the decisions you need to make and all the details and the things that you're responsible for. And it was a huge step in terms of going from an assistant coach to a head coach then of running a program. And so being able to take over, Coach Shinnick had done his best to try to groom me and get me prepared for an opportunity like that. And just seeing him and his example, that spoke volumes and really helped me. But I don't think you can ever really be ready for something like that. You have to kind of go into it, and you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to be humble and just be a sponge and take everything in stride and try to learn from mistakes quickly. And you just try to pick up as much as you can to try to reach out to others that have done it before. And it's been a great 8 years though that I've been able to be the head coach, and I've been very fortunate and blessed to be in the role that I've been in.
What was it like, obviously, to become the head coach for UNC Pembroke, who obviously you said for the last 10 years, that's where you were at. So instead of obviously going to another school, just staying there and just moving up to the head coaching job?
Well, yeah, I think really it's been a blessing just to have a 15 or almost 16-year career at one school. And there's not a lot of college football coaches that get to do that. And that in and of itself has been a really neat part of being here at UNCP, and being able to go through being a position coach to a coordinator to now the head coach has been great for my family because we've been here and kind of rooted ourselves here in the community and in the university. And I can really talk to anybody that we recruit and feel very comfortable about knowing the history of our program. And that in and of itself, of being here for the last 16 years, a part of it, that's something that not a lot of guys get to say they get to do. And that's been a very nice part of really being here as the head coach now.
What are some things that you have accomplished so far as head coach?
Well, I think we've accomplished a lot, and I don't think it's always a matter of seeing it on paper or necessarily seeing it as a record or numbers or stats or anything like that. Although we've done some good things, in just the third year that I was the head coach, we were able to make the playoffs and win the first ever playoff game here back in 2016 versus Valdosta State in the first round. And so that was a really fun experience. But what I'd like to think of more is we've accomplished a lot with just the foundation and the culture and being able to coach and teach guys and mold and shape them and being able to do things the right way. Helping them really in all three tiers of their life. In terms of obviously athletically on the field, we want to develop them, but also in the classroom as students, being able to challenge them in that way, and then also as people and knowing that character matters, and we try to really teach those life lessons every day as well. And so I think we've accomplished a lot here, and being able to work on that every day, being able to work with a great staff of assistant coaches that are able to carry out that mission and that vision of what we try to set in place, and then see it trickle down to the players. That's really rewarding to see that over time.
Who are some teams that you face in your conference, and what is it like facing those teams in your conference?
Yeah, so we've moved into what's called the Mountain East Conference, the MEC, and this was our first full season this past fall of playing there. We've got teams that really are primarily located in West Virginia. There's also a team out of Ohio, which is Notre Dame College. There's a team out of Maryland, Frostburg State University. And then we're the most southern team in that conference here in North Carolina. But you've got other teams such as Charleston University in West Virginia, Fairmont State, Glenville State, Alderson Broaddus, West Virginia Wesleyan, Concord University, West Virginia State University, Wheeling University, West Liberty University. I could be missing one or two, I'm not sure, but primarily it's a conference that is very competitive from top to bottom. We've had some good battles here thus far. We've played a few teams from the spring season that we had, and then now going through the full season here in the fall. It's been really neat to just kind of see how the personality of each of those teams are when you play them and when you prepare for them. And so it's good to be a part of a conference, because we have not had that here since I've been here, since we started the program. And so to have that identity, to have that opportunity for players to receive post-season recognition, to actually compete for a conference championship, all those things I think are really important for a program to thrive and succeed and to continue to have something to aspire for.
Of course, what is it like playing non-conference games and getting to play those North Carolina teams that are close by?
It's great. We have one opportunity on the schedule here now that we're in the MEC. And so this past year, it didn't work out to be able to play Winston-Salem State due to COVID issues. But we were really looking forward to it. And it's what you're saying. I mean, if we can keep an in-state team, a rivalry going that we can look forward to in terms of it being close in proximity and kind of battling over recruits and just territorial recognition. I think that's really important, and it's really fun for our guys to be able to get up for those. And with the 15-year history that we've had here, it's neat to be able to hopefully play some of those schools that we have in the past and to try to rekindle some of those battles and challenges. And so we look forward to that, even though there's just one a year that we have as a non-conference opponent.
What is it like, obviously, during the official visit to have recruits come out and obviously visit Pembroke?
Yeah, it's great. We try to make it a pretty thorough, but yet a simple and quick visit for those guys and their families. They're usually on campus for about a 24-hour period, and we try to show them everything, give them everything. And really what it is, it's an opportunity for them to thoroughly look at our university and campus, get to know more about what that looks like and what they can expect as they come here to be a student athlete. And then obviously they need to understand a lot about our program and how we're going to run things. And they need to get a feel for our players, and they'll hang out with them, and they'll know how we're going to coach them. They'll get a feel for their teammates or their future teammates. And I think all those things are really important so that you kind of lay everything out on the table so that there are no surprises when they get here. And, what we're looking for is the fit and making sure that the players and the recruits that we bring in, they're going to be just as attracted to us as we are to them, and making sure that it's a 4 to 5 year relationship and not just a 1 year or a 1 semester, and then all of a sudden kind of this or that pops up and, they're gone. And so we want the guys that want to stay here and see the vision of building something special and being a part of something special. And so those weekends typically try to emphasize some of those values and things that we're looking for to try to make that fit work.
Of course, on the official visit, do prospective student athletes get to try on that Pembroke jersey and see if they feel at home in Pembroke?
Absolutely, that is part of it. And we have all of the gear that they will potentially wear so that they can get a good feel for what that might look like or feel like. And so that is certainly a part of what they'll experience when they come on campus.
Of course, as a head coach, what's it like obviously seeing those players put on that gear and obviously see if they feel at home in Pembroke?
Yeah, well, you get their vibe and their body language, and they get excited and they want to take pictures, and they want their families to be there seeing them in it. And I think the recruiting process is something that is a great experience for these prospective student athletes, whether they're in high school or at prep schools or potentially coming from junior colleges or even 4-year transfers. But the concept is it's a great experience for them to go through that. And also it's important to balance that out so that guys understand that they're going through this experience and this process for a greater purpose behind it. And that's to really find the school that they're going to be a contributor for, and they're going to get a great education from, and they're going to go through an experience of being a part of a college football program that's going to invest in them from a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual side of things. And so it's a lot bigger than just only trying on the jersey, but that is certainly part of it, because you want them to feel at home and to feel like they've got a great grasp of what they're getting themselves into when they get here.
Of course, what advice would your prospective student athletes looking to play college football?
Yeah, so really, what we try to do are, try to get some attributes that are, specific to the positions that we're looking for. And so, they've got to continue to work their hardest in high school to be the best they can be for their team. But, with that, they've got to develop themselves as a well-rounded athlete. And I think, in today's day and age, to give a high schooler or a young prospective future college football player advice, they need to continue to just work on being a complete athlete and training their mind, training their habits, training their emotions, training their physical makeup. But I think, when players start to specialize in sports, they're starting to lose some skill sets and just a broader range of abilities. And I think it's really important if they can play multiple sports. I think that's something that we really look for. Also, I think they need to continue to stay focused on really the mental, emotional, psychological side of their development, and understanding how important their work ethic and their attitude and their ability to take good, hard coaching and then being able to have great character traits of understanding commitment and sacrifice and the ability to be trustworthy and, knowing how to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it and be where you're supposed to be. And, those things should not be taken for granted, because I think those are the foundation as to how you become a better player. Those are the things that you need and are required to develop you. And if you have those things, you can get faster, you can get stronger, you can become more explosive, you can have better technique, you can learn the drills and the fundamentals better at your position. And so I think those are some of the things that I would really try to give advice to, future college student athletes that are aspiring to come to college and play football or any other sport, is to try to, don't just only look beyond some of those elementary fundamental things that you're going to need when you get there, because those things will carry you through.
What advice would you give future college coaches and even future head coaches in college that are looking to obviously get into college coaching?
Well, it's a difficult profession, and it's very competitive. It's very demanding, and I would really say that you've got to kind of negatively recruit yourself and give you almost the negative test to say, are you willing to potentially put in 60 to 80 hours a week? Are you willing to be there till midnight? Are you willing to get up and be there at 4:30 a.m.? Are you willing to travel and be away from your families at times? Are you willing to invest in kids that are going to need you for things more than just football? You've got to kind of go through all those things and try to put a hard sell on yourself to negatively recruit you from the profession, because there's a lot of difficulties, and some people don't realize those things until they get in them and they experience them and they realize that it's not for them. And so you've got to have a passion for what you're doing. You got to have a passion for obviously the game of football, but you got to have a passion for working with 18 to 23-year-old young men, and a passion for wanting to try to mold and shape them and to try to impart on them, what's going to be best for their futures down the road, 10 to 20 to 30 years down when they get down, after college. And so I just think that, someone who's looking to go into college coaching, you've got to be willing to commit yourself to it. Now, I would also say this is, I think you can do it in a way that potentially does not keep you out of balance either. I think you've got to understand what balance is supposed to look like. I think you've got to be able to understand values and priorities in life, and that you don't have to be at the office every single day of the year, every single waking moment of the year. I think what I've learned as a head coach is that I've got the flexibility to make the schedule, and I try to keep some of that stuff in mind when we're kind of going throughout our year and our different phases that we go into. And so to be a head coach, it's difficult to kind of get into those spots, and that's why I feel very honored and privileged to be a part of being a head coach at a Division II school here. But it's a tough thing. It's a tough profession. A lot of people, they want to try to get into it. They want to try to do it. And yet there's very few positions and opportunities to do that. And so you gotta just put your head down. You've got to try to do the right things to put yourself in those spots. And, ideally you've got to be able to answer some of those tough questions of what it's going to take to separate yourself as well.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the Pembroke football program at?
Yeah, our program is it should be on Twitter, it should be on Instagram, it should be on Facebook. That's pretty simple to find. And then myself, I am on Twitter, mostly on Twitter at UNCP _ Coach Rich, I believe it is. And so it's something that we try to get our brand out, and we try to get as much information and keep people up to speed and up to date on what's going on with UNCP football and what's happening in the world of really, what we're doing here, as a team. And so it's great. Hopefully people will follow us and kind of understand what we're doing here, because I think it's a really special program. It's a really special place, and we got something really special going on.
That's wonderful. Thank you again, Coach Shane Richmond for your interview, and best of luck in your future at UNC Pembroke.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. I appreciate your time.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
No problem.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.